Rightio, so after the core level elements and just the basics we have, I guess it's time to leap into something that's actually scary. Possibly the easiest setup we have in the game is our dog. It just runs backwards and forwards. I'd hope we won't have to do too much with this, but when it comes to bug checking, it really pays to figure these things out. So everything in Chasing Dawn is a state machine. For instance, these are the movement states that our actor can undertake. On the ground is just while it's on the ground and moving around, and all of these relate directly to an animation which the character could be playing. So if it's hurt, the hurt is hard-coded just... the hurt animation, is hard-coded just as hurt. If it's parried, there's a hard coding in here as parried. Float is when you lift an enemy during a combat state. This enemy doesn't actually have any combat states, it just runs backwards and forwards, so this is a leftover from the prior setup. Our AI is just running forwards and running back, and that's how the AI is set up. The initial state is ping pong. So the player raid check under the AI system allows AI to look for the player and see if the view is occluded. And again, our collision shapes with the different masks and things are handled by the base component, which is actually a kinematic body 2D. So you'll see the dog is on collision layer 6, which is for anything that can collide with the player but run through other enemies. Our animation player is where we've got all of our different animation states which can be displayed by this character. As Martin Hollis says, if you've got something in AI and it's not showcased, then there's no point having it at all. Our attack area 2D is again a left me over from the prior setup that I haven't deleted yet, as is our damage area there. Now our edge checks are important, because these show and allow us to see if we're about to run off the edge of something and thus turn around. And our audio stream player is used for playing any audio. So, with that in mind, let's move on to something a bit worse, and that is our setup for the player. And because this is a character that's controlled by the player itself, we have a bit more of a direct setup. So the player controller sends commands through to the player itself, which then selects things from the actor's states. And the states our player can have are a lot. There are lots of them. We've got our on ground, our jump, our on wall, dashing, being hurt, blocked, shooting the weapon, lifting, being parried, dying on spikes, and dying itself. And again, all of these are set up within the action states themselves, which I guess, not action states, animations themselves, which I guess is a great time actually to talk about combos. We have a pretty expansive combo system, and it's handled through the combat states, which is a state set that's present both in NPC characters, our enemies, and also the player itself. It's all unanimous through. So let's take Attacker 1 to kick off with. The next combo state we can have is Attacker 2. And number 2 can of course go to 3. We've got a chain order there which isn't used anymore, but that doesn't hurt. And the combo action A, which is for attack, present here also. So if we press attack, we get to Attacker 3, and there is no combat state after this. It's the end of our combo. But our launch, however, has the ability to do a combo state lift, which will lift our character up into the air. We jump after we've lifted a enemy. And that has a function call which calls back to the main actor here, and that calls through to a state on lift where we do a jump. and we jump up to the same height as the thing we've lifted into the air to continue our combo state. That was a lot to take in a small amount of time, and the next one, I can guarantee you, is exactly this, except worse still. So, our knight enemy, which is probably the most competent enemy we've got in the game, has everything that you've seen in the player, and more crap even further. We have only two AI states. There's our amble state, where it goes backwards and forwards, does nothing, and waits for the player to show up, and our spar state. And our spar state has a lot of timers and a lot of little tickers to try and give the illusion of intelligence happening underneath the hood. For instance, we have the AI will pause for a bit while moving backwards and forwards between the player, the amount of time it will advance for, the amount of time it might back up for, the likelihood that it will do a combo if a combo is available. And a combo is available. These are the same attacks that the player had, just with different animations assigned to them. We also have the odds of blocking and the duration it will hold for, as well as the health blocking odds. And these are, the more injured our knight gets, the more inclined it is to block. So as its health is getting down to 0, it might forego trying to attack the player and attempt to block damage instead. Parry up cooldown. So if a block has successfully parried the player, what is the duration of time before this character will continue with a parry attack? What's a duration that it will continue after it's found a potential attack? And again, how long till it tries to block again, so it doesn't just spam block continuously. Now, talking about the attack found, you'll see there's a couple of colliders here. And this is handy where it's to talk about the attacker 1 collider shape is a strike area that looks to see if the player's within this collision shape, and if so, it calls back to the main script. Here we go. And will trigger a strike callback, thus damaging the player. But the attack area is used to... Sorry, I've got them around the wrong way. That's what the attack area does. My bad. Yep. Okay, there we go. Our strike check colliders. This is a set of colliders to see if the player is in a place where we can hit them. And they are turned on if this character is able to make an attack. And that callback, here we go, there turns around, says to the base AI, I can make an attack. The AI does a quick evaluation of what's available to it, and then it might try and do an attack 01 in that case. For a slightly more comprehensive example, where there's two attack states, we'll have a quick look at the zombie. And the zombie has, under its strike check areas, an attack 01, which is just this wee area here, it's highlighted as such, and that says if we're here, we can just hit something, and it does the standard slow zombie attack, which is that one here. But we've also got the attack charge, and that's this one here. So the zombie's behaviour has it pause and look at the player a lot, and looking at it as in the AI with our spar state, you can see we've got a long pause duration, a long advance duration. It never ever backs off because it just shambles forward continuously. But while the zombie's paused, were the player to approach, this charge state has a really long delay on it before it engages. So if the player waits and the zombie's sitting there, it gives the illusion that this character prepares for a charge attack, which it will then do against the player. This is more of an overview to the tools and the behaviours that have been set up within the system than anything that I'd hope you'd have to set up yourself. But it's a bit of a peek under the hood, so fingers crossed it will be useful.